get some more thoughts from our guest host, Sam Zell, Equity Group Investments Chairman. So let's go to it. Occupy Wall Street. Please, Andrew, what do you think of Occupy Wall Street?
Not much. I think that it's collected a whole bunch of people with very disparate views. I think that quote-unquote protest is both healthy and critical to the dynamicism of our country. At the same time, I don't see any justification for taking over private property. I don't see any justification for creating health issues and attracting all kinds of people who, more than anything else, want to get on television.
So if you were the property owner,
yeah,
down Brookfield's the property owner.
Yeah.
You were the property owner that owns Zuccotti Park. You would have done.
I would have evicted him on the first day. I would have said it's private property. If you want to go protest, go find some public park and let Mayor Bloomberg deal with it.
What do you make of the larger conversation just around, forget about Wall Street, but economic inequality in this country? I'm just throwing it out there as a question because you are a member of the 1%, as are other people at this table.
Yeah.
But it's worth asking.
And the answer, Andrew, is that there has been a significant bifurcation in economic equality in our country. The rich have gotten richer and the poor have gotten poorer. But as David Brooks said yesterday, the real issue is not income inequality. The real issue is educational inequality. The fact that we have an upper tier, highly educated, highly motivated, highly productive, and highly reimbursed. And then we have an uneducated scenario that's getting killed. I mean, we operate a company called Annixter, which is a $6 billion distributor of wire and cable and fasteners around the world. We decided to set up a plant in the United States to provide fasteners if we had a supply disruption. We can't fill the plant with workers because
to make the fasteners?
Yeah, to make fasteners. Because in order to make fasteners, you got to be able to read plans, and we can't find people who can read plans and specs who are vocationally trained, and yet we have 10% unemployment in the Chicago metropolitan area. I mean, we have an education crisis, and the fact that we are not educating our people, the fact that we've abdicated our education to union rules. I mean, you know, I never forget, I think it was Albert Schenker who said, when the students start paying us, then we'll start representing the students. And if that's what he's saying, and if that's the mantra, we got a really very serious
But I'll tell you, and I've reported down, and I've been down to Zuccotti Park to report on the protests. One of the things you hear over and over again from so many of the people that down there, they are college educated. They have $30,000 of debt. They don't have a job, and they say, look, the system, for whatever it is, isn't working for me.
Did they major in engineering or in literary arts? In other words, did they in effect take responsibility and say, I have to provide for myself. I better have a college education that converts into a real working opportunity. And as far as I'm concerned, I don't know of too many engineers who are unemployed. I know a lot of LS&A people who are unemployed who basically said, gee, college is just another wonderful 4 years, and I can study all this great stuff. The reality is that we're doing our country and our people a massive disservice by virtue of undereducating and under preparing them for our society.
Are we spending too much or too little money on education? When you look at how much we spend relative to other countries, it's typically as much, if not more.
Oh,
but not necessarily as a percentage of GDP.
Well, not as a percentage of GDP,
no,
but as a cost per student, it's probably twice or more. But the answer is, you know, how much proof do you need that money isn't the issue? I believe that the highest subsidy in the country for education is in New Jersey. And I think it's something like $10,000 or $12,000 a student. And they haven't produced any terrific results. And yet you go into charter schools or other places where you really have a focus on education, and half of that, they produce superior results. So it's not a question of money, it's a question of progress. It's a question of setting out the goals and setting out the importance of education and saying that's more important than preserving union rules. That's more important to the future than almost anything else.
Just one last follow-up. Who'd you hire to do those fasteners then? Or have you had to move the production out of the country?
No, we run one shift a day, and we have demand for 3 shifts a day.
That's incredible. How many jobs do you have open?
I don't remember the numbers, but I mean, literally, we could hire twice as many people.
Is it that some Americans won't take certain jobs because they think they're too low paying or beneath them?
No, I don't think that's as much as they're not trained, they're not equipped. And then, so we said, okay, let's go to the government and see if they could help us with training.
That's
we spend billions and billions of dollars on training. Total zero. No help whatsoever. Okay? And the result is we're going to have to set up an in-house training program and see if we can train people.
But that's the answer that it should always be, instead of going to the government and having them run these wasteful training programs. Why didn't you do that from the beginning?
Give me back my taxes that I paid to provide that training program, and I'll spend it on the company. I mean, the answer is that, the government, by definition, is the most incompetent producer of any kind of services. Nobody has ever disputed that. And so limit the government to what it does or has to do, defense, foreign policy, etc. But every
you want them to get out of the education business too, then?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I don't think is there any. In other words, the government has massively moved in education over the last 35 years. Have the results been more or less than what they were before?
Oh, I wouldn't dispute that, but then the question is just how do you make that work?
You go back to it, Luke? Well,
there are charter schools all over the country that work. There are Catholic schools that have been operating all over the country for 100 years and have produced and educated students.
You create a system where parents have the choice. The actual consumer of the product can make a decision and a choice.
Look, I think charter schools are very interesting, not just experiments.
That's such a weak word.
No.
Interesting.
I think there's some tremendous charter schools, but I don't think all charter schools are great, just like I don't think all public schools are horrible either.
Charter schools fail, but weak public schools don't. That's the problem.
There was a great piece in the Journal. Someone wrote an article on if your local supermarket was run like your local public school,
you wouldn't have any food.
It would be,
you wouldn't have any food.
It's the only one you can go to, and you go in, and it's like it's no way to do the most important thing we do in our life for our children. It's
a
no
government
way to do
monopoly.
That. Okay, and it exists solely for union dues to help elect the right people to perpetuate the same system that they're in right now.
We should probably have a union person to defend it, because I'm not going to make the debate right now. But we got to run. We'll continue the conversation after the break. Coming up.